I remember the day my husband Rudy called me on the phone and said, "Get rid of our TV. Sell it, donate it, do whatever you want with it. I've already gotten rid of our video game console." My jaw dropped. I could not believe what I had just heard. This was a man that at any free time he had would be found glued to the screen. I would often get home from work after a 12-hour shift at the hospital to be greeted while he remained in his seat and only turned his head, but maintained his eyes on the screen the entire time. I often ate dinner alone, I went to bed alone, and even though I was a newlywed, I often felt lonely. And looking back, this one decision, this one habit change, not only dramatically improved our marriage, but it completely changed our lives for the better. Hey friends, it's Yessie. I originally intended for this channel to be about minimalism and decluttering, but somewhere along the lines, I realized that minimalism is truly a lifestyle that allows you to live life more fully with less, and that it is about so much more than just ridding yourself of physical possessions and items, but it can also span into improving your relationships, your finances, and your relationship with technology, which is what we will talk about today. I've previously shared with you the 6 reasons why we no longer own a TV and what originally prompted that decision. Today, I'm going to share with you some of the ways that it has changed our lives. But first, I just want to clarify that this in no way is meant as a judgment to you if you own or choose to watch television. I used to love binge watching the home renovations or the Hallmark Christmas movies on a cold December day. But as you can see, we did not have balance. It was very much a negative habit for us. And often, the easiest way or the quickest way to cut out a negative habit is to eliminate the trigger altogether, which is what we chose to do. Also, by then, we had both already deleted our social media accounts, which I talk about more in my digital minimalism playlist. And I'll link that at the end of this video in case you want to hear more about that. But if you have any special tips of your own on how you have a better balance with your television, maybe meet somewhere in the middle, please share in the comments down below, because maybe completely getting rid of it altogether may not be the key for everyone. Tossing the TV, first and foremost, dramatically improved our marriage. Rudy and I were both broken in our own ways. I had horrible shopping habits, which I share about in another video, and he had an addiction to the television screen, specifically video games. And because of that, I became very resentful, very jealous of this screen, this object that robbed me of the time with the man that I love. And he now tells me that he often wouldn't even realize how long he spent on the screen, because to him, it just felt like just a little bit longer, just one more level, just one more episode. And before we knew it, it had become well after midnight when we get up at 4:30 to 5 in the morning, only to do the whole thing all over again. And the most immediate change that I can tell happened right away is that it made us come face to face with our addictions. Our daughter Anna was on the way, and it led us to ask questions. What do we want out of life? What are our priorities? And how do our daily actions reflect that? We had to intentionally define our values and set our priorities straight so that the life that we live is a reflection of what we value the most. Television and social media usage are at all-time highs. But sadly, anxiety, depression, and loneliness only seem to be worsening with time. There's a thing called the negativity bias, which is our tendency to become more affected by the negative experiences that we have rather than the positive ones. So when we watch the news and we watch horrible things happening around the world, it shapes our perspective of the world. This constant receiving of negative information about how humans treat each other and treat the world is often what leads people to believe that there is no more good in the world. Trust no one. And if things can go wrong, they will go wrong, and so on. But when you intentionally surround yourself with positive people and nurture friendships that motivate you to be a better person, and also cut off these negative news feeds, what are you left with? Positivity. So while the rest of the world may be focused on how horrible the recession is going to be, or that the zombie apocalypse is coming, you instead are out having coffee with a friend that motivates you to work on that project you've been meaning to work on, instead of focusing on the things that you cannot change. And of course, cutting out that cable bill saved us money every month. Some cable companies will charge around $60 a month or even more for special plans. So in the course of a year, after 5 years, that's $3,600. But putting the cable bill aside, I was able to make huge improvements on my horrible shopping habits because of having gotten rid of the TV. Because since I didn't have television, and also I didn't have social media at that time, including this YouTube channel, it meant that I wasn't constantly bombarded with commercials and infomercials telling me all the things that I needed that I was missing out on, and that awesome robot vacuum that was going to fix all my problems. This change made the difficult challenge of curing my shopping addiction much easier because I now wasn't constantly bombarded with messages telling me that I needed more. So it became easier to shift my focus towards a feeling of abundance. Advertisers often create a feeling of lack in us. So because I see this commercial about this awesome robot vacuum, now all of a sudden this room that I had that I was perfectly content with is no longer enough. Now I went from a state of being perfectly content to feeling like I'm missing out on something, like I need something more, and what I have isn't good enough. And this constant falling into this feeling of I need really just trains our mind to feeling scarcity. And when I no longer had social media or television to tell me all of the things that I didn't have that other people did, or in my husband's case, all the video games that he was missing out on, now we could focus our energy and our minds towards a feeling of abundance and contentment. And this change in our environment not only removed so much negativity, but it also freed up lots of time. We reconnected with old hobbies. We also found that we were a lot more creative because of this. So now instead of consuming content, we were looking for new hobbies to adopt or things that we could create. And instead of hitting the mall because I was bored, I worked out, I found new hobbies such as painting, and I picked up reading again. Rudy also had time for what he loves, which is woodworking and building furniture. And we often spent more time together as a family by doing things that we both love, such as hiking. And it eventually led me to creating this YouTube channel where I hope that through sharing my story, it will be encouraging to you. Not to avoid all forms of technology altogether, but to find the best balance that works for you, that allows you to live with an abundant mindset. The domino effect in reference to our habits refers to a phenomenon that occurs all the time. When we change one habit, it often leads to a cascade of other effects because of it, like a ripple effect when a stone hits the water. So to give you a personal example that I had made a mistake with is that I had binged watched television through the night. I got up late that morning to go to work, and so because of that, I was in a rush. I grabbed a coffee because I didn't have time for breakfast. So I'm rushing through traffic as someone pulls out in front of me because I'm in a rush, and I jam on the brakes to spill coffee all over myself so that it looks like I peed on myself, and now my car is full of coffee everywhere. So you can guess how the next parts of my day went. It did not go very well for me. I was late to work, so work piled up. It was stressful. I had to explain to everybody, I didn't pee myself. It was coffee. I assure you, it was coffee. And sometimes this happens when we make one change. It leads to us all sorts of other changes. This was a pretty crummy day for me. But the awesome thing is that it also works the other way around. When you adopt positive habits, it leads to a cascade of other changes because of it. I find that we often think of transforming our lives as these big, huge changes that we have to make. But it's often those little changes, those small habits that we do every day that build together create dramatic, long-lasting results. Rudy and I eliminated a trigger that was leading us into a negative direction. And because of that, it led to us adopting positive habits. And I still feel the chain reaction occurring. I hope that in sharing my story, it's giving you something positive to think about. And please share your thoughts and your suggestions down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, or share it with a friend so that it can help more people. And to all my subscribers, thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.